Hey, Leslie.
Hi, Miss Penny.
How are you doing, honey?
I'm doing well. How are you?
First of all, tell me, where are you?
I so
Where
I
are
get
you
that
right now?
question a lot. Okay, I live in Houston, Texas. I know everyone always asks me like, "Where are you? Where do you live?" I live in Houston, so I'm currently at home in Houston
Okay.
right now.
Okay, so you're here in the States, in Texas.
Yes, I'm in the States. Yes.
Okay, well, I want to first start off by telling you thank you. I appreciate you coming on to the Communication Factory. I cannot wait to get into this interview so you can share some personal things with me about your traveling, about work, living your dream and your passion, and how you get through things that you experience. So
Mhm.
let's just get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. Question number one: Who is Lesley Bellow? Who is she?
Ooh, that is loaded, right?
Very.
Okay. Um, I feel I am many things, right? And in saying that, I also feel I am not a lot of things. For me, um, multifaceted, right? I have layers, I have dimensions like everyone else. Um, if I had to pick a few, I guess, adjectives that would describe me, I would definitely say resilient. I'm definitely resilient. Um, Perseverance would be one. Um, Positive. I always try to um, be in a positive mindset as much as I can, right? Because I truly believe that positive thinking will yield positive outcomes. Um, I like to have fun. I love to travel. Everyone knows that. I feel like that's kind
Yes.
of what I'm known for, right? I I love to explore new things. I love to explore new people. Um, I will always be a learner. I enjoy being a student as well as a teacher, and in my scopes that I am
Hmm.
versed in. Oh, exploring new cultures, new things. I'm a lot of things.
Listen, I remember seeing you somewhere, and I said, "Leslie got one more time to get on the camel without inviting me, because no, the next camel she gets on, I need to be on the one right
I need
next
to
to
be
her.
all right.
Like you, girl, I would get on Instagram, and I'm like, where is Leslie?
Right.
Seriously, like,
I need to make that on a t-shirt. Where is
yes, where
Leslie?
is Leslie? Because you are everywhere, and I love it. I
Thank
truly do. I
thank
love it.
thank you.
Okay, so I love music. So I need
Uh-huh.
you to tell me, what is your feel good song, Leslie? Like something that just, when you in a pit, it could be a good pit, it could be a positive pit, a negative pit, any kind of, like, just what is some, give me one or two songs that just gets you in this mood, like in a happy place.
um there are like a couple of different ones, right? But when I'm just like in like a true funk and I just need to be like recentered, girl, I would put me some Nicki Minaj on. Nicki got this song called Yikes. And I don't know. I'd be like, okay, like you didn't forgot who you was for a second, sis. But
Right
let's
back
remember who we are now,
and
right?
reel it in.
And like let's reel it in. I tell this to anybody, like even when I talk to like my little cousin and stuff, when something happens, I'll give you 24 hours to feel sorry, to mope, to
Hmm.
sulk, to do whatever. I allot myself the same 24 hours. And then after that, it's
That's
done.
it.
It's done.
That's it.
There is no point in carrying it on. It's not going to help you. It's only going to weigh you down. And we cannot change what has happened. We can only try to do better moving forward.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, when you get into those moments that become distractions, and we do not do distractions.
We
So
don't do
you get the 24-hour period, and then boom, you got to get
right,
rid of the distraction.
right.
All right. I know that you were a praying woman. So share with me a go to scripture or a quote, whatever you want.
So my one of my absolute favorite scriptures is it's Isaiah 40 and it's verse 29 through 31. And so it reads that he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Um, I really like that scripture. I can recall like just in some of my maybe not so prettiest moments or like darkest moments, I feel I have always kind of went back to this scripture. Another thing that I do, I love like certain mantras, right? And a mantra is just kind of like a little chant. It's like a few phrases, and you can repeatedly say them over and over again, just to kind of help you um, if you're in a position that may not be favorable to you. So, like one of mine is like, do the best you can with what you have at that certain time, right? And that's kind of like all that you can do. If you ever find yourself just in an unwanted predicament, you can only do the best you have at that certain time with the resources that you have. Another one is like, I am protected, I am powerful, I empower others, you know? So just know that like I'm always protected, I am powerful, and I empower others.
I like that. From from your scripture, I took where it says wait upon the Lord. And I took that because for me, um, we kind of want things to happen just instantly. Or,
Right,
if you're praying for that job, you're praying for a promotion, or you're praying for whatever, your children, a spouse, a house, a car, whatever. And when that doesn't happen, you like, oh God, then you get,
right,
anxious about it and you want it to happen immediately. And, it's delayed. And you
right,
like, oh no, I want it right now, kind of
right,
thing.
right, right.
But waiting on the Lord, it gives you the opportunity to understand that just because it didn't happen when you want it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, and it's going to happen in God's time.
Absolutely. Um, just like being transparent, I am a person, I have struggled like with patience before. Um, I do attribute that a lot. I do attribute that to my job. So people are like, what kind of nurse are you? You're a travel nurse. But I'm a critical care nurse, and I do ICU now. I do like ICU, and I also do pediatrics. But before that, I was an ER nurse. And I think just being in that setting consistently, I was always operating from a place of urgent and emergent, right? And not realizing that that was also spilling over into my personal life, right? So I think it's important that we have to separate our work from personal, because it's not always good when one spills over into the other, right?
Right.
And for me, I don't think I realized I was being very impatient in my personal life until people brought that to my attention. And also, I had kind of started developing some anxiety because I feel like when we don't have patience, it kind of inadvertently like yields anxiety, right? Because you can get so worked up over why is this not happening right now when I want it to happen,
Right.
right? And you become anxious about the situation, right? And anxiety, I remember reading like something about it, and it was pretty much just like a feeling of no control, right?
Ooh,
Of
yes.
you just
Yes.
not being in control. And as I started just getting more information, I was like, okay, I don't want to be this person. Like, I just don't want to be this super control freak. I don't let anything flow how it needs to flow. It's like, how can you pray for something and then you want to control the narrative of how it ends up? That's not how God operates.
Right. And here's the thing. And for me, I go to God with it in a minute. And I was like, hey, God, listen, you said if I ask, I will receive it. If I seek, I will find. If I knock, the door shall open. Lord, I'm asking. Lord, I'm seeking. Lord, I'm knocking. Where is it? You also said you would not leave me or forsake me. I feel forsaken at this moment.
Right,
Where is what I'm praying for? When is this going to happen? And then you got to have those moments and say, God is in control.
right. God is in control. And you have to allow when I tell you, I have seen things when I truly like let go, and it still is I'm not. It's not as much as a struggle as it was now because I'm aware of it. Right. In order to fix a problem, you have to one be aware of it. Right. That's how like
Right.
whenever they talk about like alcoholism and drug, you have to like acknowledge
That you
there.
have that problem.
That's not just for those addictions. It's for all. We have all types of addictions. Right. So one is to acknowledge like, hey, maybe there is something wrong here, and maybe I'm the one that's like inciting it, and this is something that I need to work on. So it's not as bad as it was, but when I like did let go, I'm telling you, I have seen mountains move. I have seen things happen that where it happened in front of my face, and I'm like, okay, like that's why that happened. You know what I'm saying?
And that's that feeling of that was God. But that's
Yeah,
the only thing that's the only explanation that I could have at this moment for that.
right. Like, okay, all right, Lord, like I see you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And when unfavorable things do happen, I do always try to tell myself like this is all working out in your favor, even though this current situation or predicament may not be favorable. It always works out in your favor. I'm super big on having a positive mind. I feel like a positive mind will truly change your outcome on things, right? It's almost like it kind of forces the universe to give you a positive outcome. So even when I do find myself in unfavorable situations, I'm always like, that's okay. This is all working out in my favor. I have to I have to let this situation play out in the motions, right? Because I can't control it. Just know that I pray, I believe in God, and things always work out in my favor, even when I think that they are not.
Right. So, as you stated, you are a nurse. But
Hmm.
now you're a travel nurse. Did you always want to be a nurse?
Yes, surprisingly. I can remember growing up, there was nothing else that I wanted to do. And I'm okay, I'm gonna like break this question up because yes, at that time I always wanted to be a nurse. From childhood, I always wanted to be a nurse. Um, I think during my preceptorship, I ran across a nurse who was a travel nurse, and I just thought it was so cool. And just to give you a little background on my travel, I have always traveled. I was in a program Upward Bound. I love Upward Bound. They really created an opportunity for me that a lot of kids do not have. And I remember Upward Bound took me to Washington, D.C. It was for like who's who among American high school
Mhm.
students. And it was at the time where you could actually go in the White House, you could visit like the different rooms. And we had these little caucuses with other students from around the world, and we would talk. And they played such like a pivotal role, I think, in my education and exposing me to different things at such a young age that a lot of kids were not exposed to. So I love Upper Brown. I love what they do. I think they are still around,
They are.
um, but they played a huge role in I think me traveling and just wanting and just them exposing me to other things that are out there. Does that make sense? 'Cause it's like when
Yes.
you're underexposed to things, you all you see is like the walls that surround,
Right.
right? So they truly played a pivotal role in that. In me just knowing that there's so much more out there.
Okay.
But yes,
So
a nurse. I've always wanted to be a nurse. Met a travel nurse while doing a preceptorship. Um, I have always loved nursing. I mean, when I graduated, I think I was like 22, with a full blown bachelor's and RN behind my name. You know, I've been a nurse. It made 11 years in February of this year.
wow, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congratulations. So talk to me about what sacrifices did you make to become Lesley?
A
Am
lot.
I loading on you today?
Then you know what's funny? I was talking to one of my good friends about the interview, and I was like, like she's doing communication. You know, the first thing she said, she was like, "Oh my God, that is so her thing." She was like, I said, she's gonna do very well.
Well, thank you, love.
You're welcome. Um, a lot of sacrifices were made. Not even just kind of like starting at the college level. I am probably I had one older cousin who was a nurse, and he didn't travel, but he was in the military, right? And for me, in my like immediate circle, I didn't have anybody else that was doing this. I just know that it was something that was deep down in me, some unknown like driving force, and I just had to answer to it. My first travel assignment, I kind of like like a blind turkey, right? I was like, it's gonna either work or it's not. If it doesn't, I'm a nurse. I can get a job anywhere, but this is like a burning desire that I have. I have to see what it is. I can remember I got a lot of negative feedback from a lot of people that were close to me, a lot of people that I felt um, would encourage me.
Well,
And
if you don't mind sharing, when you say negative feedback, like what can be so negative about being a travel nurse?
number one, you're a woman, you're out there alone. You could be someone pretty much told me like you could be raped, you could be robbed, you could be raped and robbed right in your backyard. You
True.
know what I'm saying? I just did not get the feedback that I wanted. And I truly feel I've always been a person that I don't let other people's words really bother me, like in a sense, especially if it's something that is innate in me that I want to do, I'm gonna do it regardless, right? But if I would have like held on to those words, to that fear, because I feel
Mm,
like oftentimes people fear what they don't know, I don't think I would be where I am today. Right. I had one family member when I came back home, she was like, "Don't you ever leave again, like don't you?" And I started traveling in 2014 and I have not looked back since.
wow.
Yeah. When you have goals and dreams that are super personal to you, what I have learned in my experience, keep them private. Keep them between you
Oh, sister, speak on that.
keep
Oh, wait.
and the man upstairs, and you pull from whatever positive resources that you can, and just know that there will not always be people to support you. In my experience, I have found the majority of my support comes from people who I don't know, people who do see social
Yes.
media and who are really like, I don't know you, but I am low key, not low key, I am high key,
High key.
right? And you also have to realize too, like we're from a small town, right?
Right.
Um, there are people who probably want to do what some people do when they venture off and they truly like embody the world and what it has to offer to help make themselves a better person. When they see people who are from where they are from kind of have the same scenarios growing up,
Same opportunities.
same opportunities, and when they say that this person kind of flourished in that environment and they didn't, that can create like a jealousy, right?
Hmm.
Because we both we have the same 24 hours, we have the same options, we come from the same places, right? I personally feel like I had lesser resources than my like counterparts, okay? And then that can like breed jealousy and fear,
Hmm.
right? More so jealousy because it's like, oh, she did it. What excuse do I have for not doing it? Right?
Right.
So that's why I'm like, it truly has to be something, a burning desire that's inside of you that will propel you. Because you're not going to always have somebody you can call who can be like, it's okay, like keep moving forward. I didn't have that, like my first two travel assignments. It was like I had been traveling for a year And then people were like, oh my God, you've been to here. You know, like I worked at like number one, the Johns Hopkins for my first travel assignment. That job
Wow.
had one opening left, and it was for me. Even my recruiter, she was like, Lesley, I don't know. Is one opening left? Like your resume is strong, but just being honest, maybe we should look at other opportunities. And they called me. Like I was chosen. It just further so like solidified it was meant
Right.
for me to go. So I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed, the like dealing with naysayers and people who did doubt me. But one thing is for sure, I didn't doubt myself,
Wow.
right? If you don't doubt yourself, you'll
Having
always.
that spirit of fear, not letting that come upon you.
I do. I tell people, it's nothing I fear in this world. Nothing. Fear does nothing. In the Bible, it tells you you are not even born with a spirit of fear. You are
Right.
born with
He
a spirit
doesn't give us that.
He does not give you a spirit of fear. So it's
He
like,
doesn't.
where does all this come from? It's things that we create in our mind.
And feed ourselves.
We feed absolutely. We feed ourselves. Absolutely.
It's I like how you said earlier in when you were explaining this, how you may have not had anyone to motivate you and empower you for things that you wanted to do during this time, but you believed in yourself.
Right.
And there's so many people who struggle with that self-love and that self-belief, or may not have that will. And that's what I've been, basically the theme that I've been trying to put out there, is giving yourself a hand.
Hmm.
Because you cannot think that someone's going to always come and give you a hand. You
Hmm.
will be sitting waiting for that hand.
A very
Give
long time.
Yes, give yourself the hand that you need to get through whatever it is that you're going through, or to accomplish what goal you're working towards. Give it to yourself, because just because someone else doesn't mean that that's not what's for you.
Right.
But
Right.
God's not going to just give things to you. You have to put in some work. You have to go ahead and put forth what's needed to be successful as well.
Right. And I think like for us, just because again, it goes back to like just being from a small hometown. I think it's a culture thing too, right? We're so close to our families, right? We're so close knit. A lot of people in our communities know each other, and that is a beautiful thing.
It
I,
is.
I'm in no way taking away from that. That is one thing that I miss about being home, is just having, um, like with the hurricane that recently happened. It was just so beautiful to see so many people come together and like help
Mhm.
each other when there was no one really working for it.
Right.
But it's almost like it's a double-edged sword. If you truly like rely just on that and you don't put the work in yourself, you will be stuck, right? Anytime
Mhm.
you try to rely on anyone to give you that drive for something that you
It
want,
has to be within you.
has to be within you. It just has to be.
And that goes back to having that same 24 hours,
Right.
and making forth and putting yourself in a predicament to win. You have to put yourself in a situation to win. You can't just think that you're going to win because you woke up this morning. You have
I'm
to
glad
do
I'm glad you said that.
you have
Yes,
to do the work to win.
yes. And know that even you can put forth the effort and the work. I like this phrase. You have to be a learner before you can be an earner, right? And
Ooh.
what like I take from that is like you are going to fail.
Oh,
I
absolutely. And you're gonna fail a lot.
You're gonna fail a lot.
A lot.
A lot. Like, excuse me, big emphasis on the a lot part.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
You just have to realize that. But again, you have to like just know that it's all a part of the process.
Mhm.
Like you have to just kind of dust yourself off and keep moving forward and keep knowing that that is all a part of the plan, right?
And that goes back to what you said with your scripture about waiting upon the Lord.
Yes,
Like, seriously, sometimes you have to wait. That doesn't mean quit trying. Keep
right,
trying. But when it doesn't go your way, know that God is still with you. And
right,
everything happens for a reason.
right. Because delayed is not denied.
There you go.
Yes,
There
yes,
you go.
yes, ma'am.
So let's get back to you traveling, sister. Because I'm still waiting for my invite for the next trip. Okay, we've
You
already
are
discussed.
always invited.
We
Anyone
done
who wants
discussed
to
this.
join me is invited. I just don't wait on nobody. Like, listen, here's the date. I didn't bought my ticket. These are the accommodations. And by the way, like just not to toot my own horn, when we travel, my friends are always like, okay, like you're in charge of logistics because they know we ain't staying in no like raggedy place. Okay, like we gonna have
No. Right. So you have been to so many different places, okay?
mm-hmm.
Where's your favorite place that you have been? You can
my
only give me one, Lesley. Just give me one.
my absolute favorite place was Egypt.
Really?
Egypt.
Why?
So, um, oftentimes they try to separate Egypt from Africa, right? And I'm gonna say this not, but Egypt is a country in Africa, okay? And I feel that historically, when we see things on TV, they portray Egyptians as being like it's very whitewashed. It's very like watered down so far, as the melanin in it is very watered down.
Hmm.
And just being there, that was not the case. I remember we went to three cities within Egypt. We started at Cairo, which is where the pyramids are in Giza. Um, we started Cairo, we went to Aswan, and then we ended in Luxor. And while we were in Aswan, we took a tour. Um, it was called like the King. I forgot the actual name of it, but pretty much it was these temples, right? And it had all of the pharaohs because the Egyptians believe heavily in like the afterlife.
Hmm.
And our tour guide was showing us like these pictures of just like the people building the tombs and even like the pharaohs, and they're all black people. They are people of color. And I think just being there and being able to kind of like snatch a piece of that
A
history
piece of that history.
and like so long ago, it means so much to me. And I'm on my Instagram on like my stories, I recorded like the postcard and I was like, do y'all see this? Like these are people of color, you know? But it's almost like one of those things, if you don't go and see it for yourself, you have no choice but to believe what you're shown,
Mhm.
right? So like for me, it was one of the most, it is such a beautiful place. Aswan is a city that is on the Nile, and when I tell you it is so beautiful, like children play in the Nile. I remember asking the tour guide, I was like, "Where are all these crocodiles at that they talk about in the textbook?"
In the textbook, right?
Kids are like a paddleboard here. Like, what's going on? And she's like, "Oh, they're on like the other side." It's just it was just so beautiful to see. It's like a place that it always comes up in history. We always learn about it in school, and for me to lay my own two eyes on it, I mean, it was everything I had imagined and more. So that is my absolute favorite. But I tell anybody, I don't normally frequent a place more than once. I would definitely go back to Egypt, like for sure, hands down.
Great, because then you can take me with you.
I
We
would
can
definitely.
we can do this.
We
But
can
now
ride
listen,
on everything.
I have this friend, one of my childhood friends,
Hmm.
and he is always on me about teaching. He's like, you teaching those kids that history stuff, the same stuff that they taught us, and that's not true. And like, we'll just go on and on. He was like, you believe what these people told you. You believe things that you've seen in the textbooks, Danielle, but there's so much more. I'm like, hey, listen, I teach standards by my
Right.
states. Okay, that's what I teach.
Right.
But he will go on and on because he just has his own belief. He's always been this way. He will challenge everything. I mean,
Right.
everything, he will challenge it. But
Right.
I do understand it. But it's for us as individuals to go out and seek more and learn more and to be a lifelong learner. That's what I tell my students. That's what I tell everyone. If you want to know something,
Go see it for
learn
yourself.
about it. Go see
Mhm.
for yourself. Research it on your own. Don't just believe what I say.
Right.
Go ahead and put some work in it and get the information that you need so that you can fully understand it. Not just what someone has told you, but that you have your own knowledge of it.
Right. Right. And that is really like what I get from traveling. Just it's just it's so we live in such like a beautiful world. I mean, we really do. And
I have a cousin and she lives in New York. She's a scientist, but she travels all the time. She always have.
mm,
So one time we went on this cousin trip. We went to Belize, and that was my first time leaving the country.
mhm,
And that is when I had this overall drive to travel
mhm,
because it made me realize like it is so much more.
so much
It's
more.
so much more to the world. I mean, not even just what you see on TV, like the food, the culture, the meeting different people and how people are so happy with what they have. And this
Mm,
is nothing against America at all, of course, but everyone's like, oh, America the Great, okay,
yeah,
yes, the way we live, and I get it. But these other, countries, these people are happy with what they have. They are accustomed to the way they live there. I mean, it's just a really, really great environment. It
yeah.
really, so I after that, I said, you know what? I'm gonna start traveling more and I'm gonna bring my children. I want to expose my kids to these things.
I love that. I that is also one of the other. I'm glad that you mentioned that about just how almost every place that I have traveled to outside of the U.S. Um, the citizens have such a pride in their country. When I went to Rome, Rome has a a trash can, a recycling bin, almost on every corner. And I thought that was so amazing because it's like this is the area that we inhabit, right? Like we're gonna keep it clean, right? And I've just never been anywhere in the U.S. where there's like
Everywhere
literally
you go.
every few blocks there was a trash can or recycling bin, like right there. Like just remember, like put your and just like I know recycling is something that's kind of it's been around. A lot of people like maybe have not done it, but that was just so awesome to
Mhm.
me. Like they take so much pride in their country and keeping it clean. Um, even so much as like resources that they have, like not overusing or abusing those resources. Um, I just love that. Like I love to see. That was one of the big things that I just noticed. Like when I went to other places, people have a lot of pride in their countries.
So with all the traveling that you do, how do you decide where am I going next? Like, how do you decide what's the next destination?
For work or
No,
leisure.
for you, for leisure.
So I am currently on pre-COVID before it got interrupted. um, I'm on a quest to see the seven world wonders. So
Okay.
I have seen three so far. I've been to Machu Picchu. I have seen the pyramids, the Colosseum in Rome. I went to Mexico in September. I was supposed to see the Chichen Itza, but it was actually closed due to COVID. So I have the Chichen Itza, the Petra in Jordan, which is where a lot of the Indiana Jones movies were filmed at.
Hmm.
Um, what is it called? The one in the Taj Mahal. Now the Taj Mahal, the Petra, the Chichen Itza, and I have one more left. I'm trying to remember what it is, but I have four left. I've seen
Okay.
three. I have four left.
And so that's your thing.
Yes, that is my guide as to like where to go.
Okay.
Yes, I want to see all the seven world wonders while I'm alive and not old.
So let's talk about Lesley dating. Is Lesley dating right now? How is that going?
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm going to close my computer.
what is let's get into Leslie's personal life. Is
Ooh,
Lesley dating? Because here's the
um,
thing, you always posting these, someone's taking these pictures, sis. Like
sis, get you like. Does it always have to be a person? Can it not just be like a tripod?
and sometimes it could be, but from certain angles, sis, I'm not.
Don't
I
think
know.
so?
I'm not saying it has to be. I'm just saying you. Is Lesley dating?
Yeah, I'm actively dating. But here's the thing, I want to make sure that we have the same like definition of dating, right?
Okay. So when
Because
I say dating, I am saying, is Lesley getting to know men, or is Lesley getting to know just people in general, just making, I don't know, like just making friends.
yes, okay. So
Like,
because dating to me is like I can date you and I can date other people. So
yes, yes, not in a relationship. I'm strictly saying dating. Like, hey, I may go to the movie with you on Thursday, and I may have dinner with someone on Sunday, brunch. You just never know.
yes, I am actively dating.
Okay, so what?
Next question.
So I'm new to dating.
Okay.
So let's have a little bit of girl talk about how do you decide if yes is the answer to a date?
Mm, approach is definitely number one. I think how someone uh, attempts to like solicit my attention. Don't come at me with no like, "Hey, ma, how you doing?" Don't yell at me. I'm not a cat. Don't cat call. Like, no, that would get you absolutely nowhere. Um, we're also in like a new era of dating, right? Like when we, right,
Like, it used to be like a little note.
right. That note has definitely evolved into a direct
Evolve.
message on Facebook
Yes.
or Instagram. So in dating, I think you have to be open to like even with COVID, right? I was watching something on TV and it was like online dating has like increased by like 30 or 40% just because people are kind of sitting at
Can't go
home,
anywhere.
right? Like can't go anywhere. So I definitely try to keep like an open mindset about how to meet new people. Um, approach, we exchange a few messages, just so that I can kind of see like where your mindset is. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Um, see if there's a chance that we can be compatible because I don't feel like you can really know a person until you have like that in-person exchange with them, right?
Right.
It's kind of hard to read people like over the phone, internet, whatever. Um, so just like having a conversation, however we meet, like just to see, hey, like, is this someone else that like I do want to maybe like spend more one-on-one time with, or go out, learn more about them. Um, yeah.
Okay. So okay, that's great. That's all great things. Okay. So now we're gonna just bring it back to home. Okay. So,
Okay.
trail rides, zydeco's, just the basic things. So when you were in Houston, do you ever, go to the Texas trail rides, or are
Honey,
you
yes.
still into that? How does that work?
So I'm not into like trail riding as like I was previously before moving here, but I still love to cut a rug. Okay, like I still love to zydeco. There's actually a place out here at Prospect Park, and on certain Sundays
Terry Love, I see him posting there all the time.
they do like a Zydeco Sunday, and like me and my cousins will go. So I still like embody that Louisiana culture. I mean, like that's just kind of like who I am. It's where
Mhm.
like it's where I'm from. It's just really a part of me. I don't think no matter like where I go, I would lose that. It's something that like I enjoy it. Right? It gives me like that comfort of home. So yeah, I'll definitely still like go to Zydeco's. I have not went to a trail ride in years.
Oh, that makes two of us.
I have not been to a trail ride in years. I do normally go home for Mardi Gras when I'm not working. Of course, that got canceled this year because of COVID, but I definitely try to participate in some Mardi Gras festivities, and they have those out here. Obviously, they're not the originators, so it's a
It's a
little
little different.
right? And I'm like, I am only 2.5 hours. So I'll definitely drive back. And it's just good just to, like, again, just to enjoy the culture, to be around my family and stuff. But yeah, I have
Because you
not.
have a huge family and you guys, spend a lot of time together. So I'm sure that'll be some good family time for you.
It it is. And really like just when I can, like I think when was the last time I was home for the holidays. So if I'm off, I definitely try to go home for the holidays. Um just because I don't live there and on like that kind of couple with me traveling, it can definitely be hard, like just to kind of get family time. Um so I definitely try to like make it back home for like holidays, Mardi Gras, like things that I can when I'm not working.
Okay. So if you could tell young Lesley something, what would
Hmm.
you tell young Lesley?
Mm. If I could tell young Leslie something, I would tell her that she was worthy then just as much as she is worthy now. I would definitely, it's so weird that you say that. I think that I would give young Leslie a lot more love that I
We're so hard on ourselves
probably,
as young
yeah,
girls. We give ourselves the blues.
extremely.
We
I
really
would
do.
definitely love on young Leslie a lot more than I did. I should have loved on her. I should have loved on her a lot more. It's okay because you can go back, right? Like not physically, but again, it brings us back to just being aware of our shortcomings. And I think when we think of shortcomings, we always like to say shortcomings with other people. You got to realize
Um,
we have a lot of shortcomings,
within ourselves.
right? And I just feel as women, we do not love on ourselves enough. We are super hard on ourselves. We take on these extremely heavy burdens, motherhood, wife, friend, daughter, right? And I just feel we get so lost in those titles,
Relationship, yeah.
right? You kind of forget like who you are. And even though I'm not a wife and a mother yet, um, I still feel that like I still need to find balance within the current roles that I am in. Does that make sense?
It does.
Um, so just like to love on myself more, to tell myself that I was worthy back then, just as much as I am now. You know, to not maybe always reveal my plans to people, right? I kind
Gotta
of
keep
learned
it to
that
yourself.
the hard way. That when you truly want something, just like keep it to yourself. Because there are people have shot my dream down, but like absolutely, they've shot it down multiple times, and I just have to like thank God for still like instilling that
So what do
drive.
you do now when you're around those people who may have shot down your dreams and now they see that you persevered and it worked, that this was God's plan for Lesley. So when you are around these people now, they can't really say those things because they've seen the outcome of you following your dream. How do you handle that now?
Oh, the gag is I'm not around people anymore.
And I'm really big on let's talk about that really quickly. It's important to protect your energy. And
Oh,
that is something that I have learned within like the last maybe 10 months, that it's okay to choose me.
right.
And sometimes like I may have not wanted to always choose me because I didn't want to come across as being self-centered or
Mhm.
as being selfish. But when I was pouring myself into other things and other people, I didn't have the energy to, like you said, to love on me and love myself the way I needed to. But when
Right.
I started to choose me above all things, life started happening in the ways that I needed it to.
It's a great thing.
And Lesley is amazing. And
Mhm.
you can say it. Some people say like, "Oh, it's so cliche," but until you live through what that feels like, you'll
Mhm.
never understand the value of truly choosing yourself
Right.
and not being around those people and protecting your energy and like, okay, I'm out.
Right. Right. Um, I think when we think of like self love, self care, right? I think a few things stand out are like manis, petties, you say
I was just
groom,
about to say that, is your soul right?
right? That is the when you think of self love and true like self care, you gotta dig deep, sis. You gotta deal with some uncomfortable things. I mean, so uncomfortable. I see why some people don't do it, right? Because you have to go back
Well, can
to
you say that again, Lesley?
it,
Like,
it's so uncomfortable. I do see why some people just opt to not deal with it. Like I do. Um, you have to go back to certain traumas that you have buried, right? Not dealt with, but you buried.
you
You've
buried
like
it.
masked them. You have to look at certain things within yourself that really looking in the mirror and being like, your soul is so ugly. It is truly ugly, and you have so much that you need to work on.
Now, Leslie, I don't have no tissue, so you be careful how far you take this, okay?
And I'm telling you this because this is something that I've like kind of been dealing with like the past year. Is just truly like that's why like when you ask me that question about who am I, I'm like if you would have asked me that a year ago, I'd have gave you like the same cliche and like now I'm just in a space where I know who I want to be, but I also know who I am no longer. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna write that question down.
I also know who I am no longer. And when we talk about like pouring into other people, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Nope.
That is one of my big like mantras and soapboxes. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And what happened to me, um, I am like a natural giver, right? Like I always want the best for people. I always want to see people operating at their highest level.
High capacity.
And you can't want for people what they don't want for themselves, right? And wanting that for other people, I think I kind of placed these expectations onto them that they didn't have the
For
capacity,
themselves, right?
right? And that was a me thing. I kept pouring into other people so much because I was avoiding like pouring into myself
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with the things that I needed to deal with and heal from, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
past year, that's kind of like what I've been doing, and it's not like it's not a shot. It's not me being shady, but I'm gonna pour into me that energy that I poured into everybody else. I'm gonna pour that into me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I've gotten this far by neglecting myself, and I was neglecting myself, like in a sense, right? Imagine how much further I can get if I like
Yes.
truly put all that energy into myself, and I truly, because like what you don't deal with, it still stays there. It just manifests in different forms. That's what
Mm-hmm.
people fail to realize, and it is hurtful. It is painful. It is growth is truly uncomfortable. You
And
know,
that's why some people run from it.
growth is truly. It is probably one of the most uncomfortable things I have ever dealt with because at the end of the day, when all else fails, you have no one else to blame but you. Like I have no one else to blame but me, right? You don't have mommy to blame. You don't have daddy to blame. Even though they may have contributed to your issues, you're an adult now. And adults
Right.
are accountable and they take responsibility. And yes, you can't change what happened to you, but you can change how you heal from it and how you move forward.
Yes.
So like that is just kind of like that is true love to me. What does your soul look like? How are you mentally, sis? Everyone that's like a big thing. Like, how are
Yeah.
you? How are you mentally, sis? And even though as you start to grow and evolve, I feel like people think like growth, like self love and self growth is like it's like a destination. It's not.
No, it continues.
It
It's an
will always
ongoing thing.
continue. It is an ongoing thing. There
And
will be lows and there will be highs.
what I find excuse me, what I find is that I have conversations with people and it's like they'll say things as if I am stuck as the person that I was 5 years ago,
I
you
get
know, or,
that.
when I tell people, okay, well, hey, listen, I got my life coaching certification and this is what I'm doing now. Don't look back to things that I've done years ago because that's not who I am.
Right,
And everyone is able to evolve. And if
right,
you can't see my growth, that's a you thing.
exactly.
And my growth isn't for you. My
Right,
growth is for me.
right.
And for you not to be willing to accept the fact that people do change and people do evolve
Hmm.
makes people open up to the idea that you are not possibly evolving, because if you truly understood that evolving is ongoing,
Right.
then you shouldn't expect to see the same person that you seen five
Or
years ago.
credit you because you're trying to do something different. Right,
Right. People change and they evolve, and it's a wonderful feeling when you watch it become full circle. And
right,
when you go through those moments, like you said earlier, sometimes that's God is taking you where you needed to go so that you can be the person that you are now.
right.
It's
It's
big.
also important, I think, to so I have this book, right? This book has been out for a while. And some of you may have heard of it. It's called The Four Agreements. And the book, hold on, I have to pull it up on my phone. The book has four agreements, okay? And the four agreements are, number one is to be impeccable with your word, which
Mm,
pretty much means like, always speak with integrity. Whatever you say, try to make sure that you are mindful about it. If you say you're going to do something, to do it, right?
mhm.
The second agreement is don't take anything personally. And I'm going to come back to that one. The third one is don't make assumptions. And the fourth one is always do your best. What I liked, what Dawn really touched on about don't take anything personally was it says nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a result of their own dream or perception of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and accusations of others, you won't be the victims of needless suffering. So, how many times
Mhm.
you can have, there's this person who doesn't like you, you've never done them anything, whatever, you just not their cup of tea, and that's fine. And what I like about this, when you read the book, he's like, other people's issue with you is not your issue.
I say that all the time,
It is
Lesley.
not your issue. That is a them issue. But we can make things our issues because we like take that on. And that kind of goes back to about like when you do have dreams and plans, to keep it to yourself and to keep it, it's just so that that negativity doesn't like
Spill over.
spill over into what you are doing. And then you kind of take on those negative words and you begin to doubt yourself. It's all kind of like full circle. Whatever someone says, whatever their opinion, those are really their opinions that they are entitled to, just so I am entitled to mine.
Hmm.
Um, and this kind of also goes back to like the whole self-love thing. I feel when we don't address a part of self-love is like addressing our insecurities, right? We can sometimes have we can sometimes feel our insecurities. We can project those onto other people.
And we
Does that
do.
make sense?
Hmm.
And then you'll again become like a victim of needless suffering for an issue that's not even your issue. It's truly not your issue. It is someone else's issue that they are projecting onto you. And it's like when I find myself in those positions, you know what I say? You know what? I'm taking my power back, right? Because that is also a form of like someone taking power
Having
over
that control over you, over
having
you.
that control over you. So,
And just to chime in on that, I've had that experience, and you don't want to believe that's what's happening.
right.
You don't want to believe that someone is putting that on you.
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, they don't even know they're doing that
They
to you.
don't even know that they're doing it. Right.
They don't even know. And you have so much respect for this other person. It's like, there's no way that this is what they're doing to me because they love me, they care about me. Sis,
Mm-hmm.
these people have their own issues. And
Right.
you cannot assume that they can, just like you can accidentally do something, they are doing the exact same thing. You have to protect your energy. And if what they're doing, they're not aware of it,
Right.
and it's pouring into you, spilling into you, you're now carrying something that they're not even carrying.
Not even in your bag to carry.
Yes, it's not like you
Right.
have to be like, no, no.
Right. Um,
Who was the author of the Four Agreements?
so let me get his full name because when I read that book, it truly like began. I think that this like whole like growth thing, it's something that's been in the process for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it can take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but me reading that book, I think was at a moment when I first began to be like, okay, like I know there's some like kind of deep things going on within
Layers.
layers, right? And it's okay to like slowly peel back the layers, but we need to get to peeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? I read this book like years ago, and he just kind of helped me as I was like, he helped me as the process was beginning that I didn't even know was beginning. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and he actually has a few books out. But the Four Agreements was one of his best books that it truly like just resonated with me what I was going through. And I read this book years ago, and
Reference it.
I still reference it because that's just how good it was. And even like if you're at work, right, and happy, you like your day's going well, your coworker, your boss come in, they pissed, they are now like projecting that onto you. I just always try to go back to here and remember that, like, because like never take nothing personal, right? Because these people are truly dealing with their own issues, even though they are projecting them onto you. Like, just take your power back. Don't take it personal.
Mm-hmm.
That is just what I loved whenever I got. That's what I loved about it. It just kind of helped me how to process things, things that happen every day, and how to just keep your power. Yeah.
Lesley, this interview was amazing. First of all, I just have to say this to you. You are so beautiful.
Oh, thank
You
you.
are so, I mean, I've just been sitting here watching you. You are so beautiful, Lesley.
You
You
are.
really are.
Thank
Thank you. So earlier, at the very beginning of the interview, I asked you, I was like, who is Lesley?
you. Here
Okay.
she goes.
So, so as we were talking and I was listening to things that you were saying, I kind of came up with some things of who I would consider Lesley to be. And I would like to share that with you.
Please do.
Okay. So if someone came to me and was like, who is Lesley Bellow? Okay.
Mhm.
I would say that Lesley is a woman with a positive mind who is in search of the seven wonders of the world, who understands the importance of seeing different destinations and staying true to her Louisiana roots.
Mhm.
And she understands that she is not in control of everything and that she is willing to wait on God.
I am
That is
absolutely.
what I have pulled together from our interview.
I like that. I agree with it. I do. Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much. I hope and pray that women who watch your interview understand the importance of self reflecting,
Right.
knowing that it's okay to pull back those layers,
Right.
um, spend time with yourself.
Right.
Spend time with yourself and then have those uncomfortable conversations
Right.
that will help you stay true to you and also help you accomplish your dreams and your goals regardless to the fear that others may put on you, when opportunity may not knock on the door for you,
Mhm.
and when you're having those moments where you're sitting in the pit of the midst of your mystery. That's my thing. Whatever it is, you're not sure what's to come.
Right.
It's okay to stay prayed up and to follow your gut. Stay
Right.
true to you in the midst of that.
Right.
Okay,
I
well, this
agree.
is great. I am so happy that you did this with me. And I can't wait to get on the camel with you because we're going to
I
yeah.
am gonna hold you to that camel, Miss
I'm
Jenny.
I'm I'm serious.
No, because people be like, "Hey, yeah, I want to go." I'm like, "All right, here's the deed.
Listen,
I don't want to hear.
camel me.
I want you to be like, okay, here's my boarding pass. Here's
Camel me.
my
Camel me, Leslie, because I'm ready.
I will. And I
All
just
right.
want to tell you, I love what you were doing. I have you and me, we have like kind of we've been able to see each other evolve,
We
right?
have
In a sense. And I truly love that you are like staying true to your calling. A lot of people get super complacent, like in their careers, just in life in general. And it's really a beautiful thing when I like see someone I know personally who is like, you know what, this is not what I want to do anymore. I want to do this. I feel like a true like drive to do this, a true like
yes.
call to do this. And I'm happy that you thought of me. There were thousands of people you could have asked to come on. So I am truly grateful for the opportunity. And I know you will be super successful in this. The Communication Factory.
Oh,
Just
thank
like me and my
you.
friend said, she was like, that's so her realm. And I'm really happy for you. I truly am.
Thank you. And just to add to that, I love that we as women, I'm not going to say Black women, that we as women can recognize growth and strength in other women and praise them and encourage them and empower and support them and truly mean that.
Right.
Not a, how sometimes women give that fake love.
Daring. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. I admire that we are able to do that with one another.
Yeah,
I
we are.
do.
Thank
So
you
I
so much.
love you, and I will see you soon. And we will definitely. I'm gonna be in Houston, and I want to go to Prospect Park, and we're gonna cut a rug on a
Okay, you
Sunday.
got my number. So all you
I,
got to make sure I'm here first, though.
I was saying,
Make sure I'm
Leslie,
here.
I'll be in Houston, and you will be in Timbuktu.
Hopefully, I'll be here. But yes, ma'am, I would love us to hang out and vibe. It's definitely been
It's
years,
time.
it's been a
Yes.
while. So yes, just thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
Okay. God bless you, Leslie.
You too, Miss Danny.
Bye.
Bye.